The One Ring is a legendarily destructive magical object in Middle-earth. It is single-handedly responsible for 2 wars, the ruining of countless lives, and the unbelievably cheap housing in Rivendell. This thing is bad, and unfortunately, there is something in the real world that shares all of the properties of Isildur's Bane. Except for the invisibility bit, that's a strictly Middle-earth thing. Now, the most obvious quality of the One Ring is that it's a little addictive. You see repeatedly in the narrative people who pick up the ring struggle to put it down again. There are a great number of substances that have this in common with the One Ring, but not all drugs are created equal in this regard. In the science of addiction, there is a concept called psychological dependence liability. This means the likelihood that a person who starts using a substance will develop unpleasant psychological symptoms if they stop using it. This is called negative reinforcement, and it's a major mechanism in the development and progression of the disease of addiction. Now, measuring dependence liability is not an exact science. However, there are metrics that are precise enough to make this chart. The higher the number is in this column, the more addictive the substance is. While THC and hallucinogens can be habit-forming for some people, the number of people who develop psychological dependence from them is quite a bit lower than for the ones that are in the categories remaining. Another significant feature of the One Ring is that it enhances the existing abilities of the user while making them significantly more jerkish than they were before. We learned from the dialogue of characters like Gandalf and Galadriel that although the ring would make them insanely powerful, using the ring, even with good intentions, would end disastrously. This would be the ring's performance-enhancing properties. Opioids and nicotine do nothing to enhance performance. Benzos and alcohol actually hurt your ability to perform tasks because they're depressants. When you take depressants, they lower your inhibitions while simultaneously slowing communication between your brain and your muscles, resulting in impaired hand-eye coordination. This means that while a drunk person may think that they can say the alphabet backwards while moonwalking in a straight line, they can't. Stimulants, on the other hand, have the opposite effect of depressants. They increase alertness, focus, and coordination, which is why powerful stimulants like Adderall are abused for performance-enhancing purposes in universities and competitive gaming. So if the ring were a drug, we're pretty sure it would be a highly addictive stimulant. There are 2 drugs that fit this bill: cocaine and methamphetamine. Cocaine and meth both work on the dopamine system in the brain. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter that affects motivation, sense of reward, and coordination. What powerful stimulants like cocaine and meth do is overload this system, causing a sense of euphoria, but the dopamine system was not designed to be overstimulated like this, and chronic use of these drugs can cause the cells in your brain to lose the ability to respond to dopamine from other activities. This can result in something called anhedonia, when the drug user can no longer take pleasure in things that aren't drugs. Anhedonia looks very similar to what we see from Smeagol in The Two Towers, when Smeagol no longer can conceive of anything worth having other than the One Ring. While both of these stimulants can cause severe changes to the brain, meth stands alone in 2 important ways from cocaine. First is the fact that it's neurotoxic. While other drugs do damage to the brain by overloading the brain cells, methamphetamine is directly toxic to the cells themselves. This means that damage caused to the brain by meth is almost immediate and in many cases irreversible. This is similar to the sharp mental deterioration caused by use of the ring. The second is that, like the One Ring, meth is the cause of danger and suffering everywhere it goes. While all of the drugs mentioned in this video have the potential to ruin the lives of the consumer and attract crime and violence wherever they're trafficked, meth is even dangerous to the maker. Meth isn't derived from any natural substance like cocaine and heroin. It is a combination of chemicals that is extremely volatile, especially when it's made using the popular shake and bake method. Because it's cheap, it's typically abused in economically depressed areas, strengthening the cycle of poverty and addiction in these places. What the One Ring does to Middle-earth, this drug does to real people all over the world. It binds people searching for something to fulfill them, breaks them down, and makes them dependent on the creator of this dangerous vice. With all these similarities between the One Ring and meth, I think it's safe to say what's hiding underneath Sauron's mask. Or maybe not. What do you think? Do you think that some other drug or activity is more similar to the ring than meth? Leave a comment saying what you think, and don't forget to subscribe for more pop culture psychoanalysis. Thanks for watching.